All righty. Welcome in here to the weekend wrap up, the news that matters. I'm David Thomas, and that is Josh Blevins sitting there with a big paper in front of him with lots of information to share with us.
We have a few notes, a few things to go over today.
Yeah.
Busy week, busy week.
I've got one note we need to make.
What's that?
One of our sponsors, Extreme Flooring, has relocated recently.
They did. They moved
They got their permanent home at 174 Northside Park Drive.
down behind the Dunkin' Donuts.
Exactly right behind the Dunkin' Donuts. And then, of course, we've got Dennis Young Insurance. Those two start the year off as our sponsors, and we appreciate them. Let's hear from them, and we're going to come back, and you can dive into all this information.
Sounds like a great idea.
All right. We'll be right back.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
Ready to upgrade your space? At Extreme Flooring in Shelbyville, we've got you covered. From carpet and hardwood to luxury vinyl, tile, and waterproof flooring. We also handle kitchen backsplash and bath remodels. Our design and sales team will help you find the perfect fit with trusted brands like Dreamweaver, Shaw, Mohawk, Doll Tile, and Tile Bar. And their certified installers make sure everything looks just right. Stop by and see us at 225 Colorado Boulevard in Shelbyville or give us a call at 931-735-6700. Financing is available. Schedule your consultation today at extreme-flooring.com. Let's make your home amazing.
All righty. Welcome back in here to the news that matters, the weekend wrap up. Josh Blevins is sitting over here just dying to spread some information to us.
We've got some information. Here's what's going on. The story I get the most questions about every time I'm out and about in the public, what in the world's going on with Uncle Nearest? So just a quick update. We continue to post as new filings come out. What has happened over the past, I'd say, week and a half is they're filing a lot of things under seal, which means the judge can see it, the attorneys, the parties involved, but the rest of the public doesn't get to see it. So they are having a hearing Tuesday afternoon, 4:00. This will be a hearing we cannot attend. This is a invitation-only virtual Zoom meeting, and they're going to discuss all this stuff that's under seal and say, hey, is this really necessary to keep the public out of these documents at this point?
Right.
So at some point after that, the court will make a ruling on if these documents can stay private throughout the remainder of the trial or if some of this stuff needs to come out. So we'll be following that and let you know if any of that's going to come out or not. And then this past Thursday, I didn't repost it, but the Moore County Observer, which is one of the couple of papers that are down in the Moore County area, they published an extensive article pointing out the fact, which we knew some of this, but they had the paperwork and the numbers on the fact that the $108 million that's owed to Farm Credit is just one piece of this puzzle. They have a bunch of other smaller people that they owe money to, and he had an extensive list, including just a couple of them. 1.24 million they owe to
Tennessee
Distilling Group that actually distills their whiskey. The gentleman that, if you go on their website, Jeffrey Wright, he was in a number of HBO series. Yeah, he did a 10-minute kind of a short video movie for them.
Right.
They still, as of allegedly, according to the Moore County Observer, still owe him $600,000 for that work, but the video continues.
That's a lot of money for a 10-minute video, isn't it?
Well, he's a A-list actor, so he gets paid. They owe $570,000 to a HR recruiting firm. They had 4 former law firms that they had done business with that still had not been paid. 5 people that had worked for them as brand representatives out there trying to sell their product, they were not paid. 2 professional sports teams, they owed a total of $45,000 to, I guess, for sponsorships or something. They had another several $100,000 owed to a bunch of just connections within the industry, including suppliers and whatnot. $272,000 owed for the billboards that used to run around in the Nashville area and stuff that apparently were not paid for. And Oracle, who early on in the case had filed some paperwork just to say, hey, we want you to know that we want to be
Yeah,
part of this. They still owed them $116,000 as of this article. So in addition to the stuff in the article, we were aware there were the 2 lawsuits in Bedford County that were settled for suppliers, and those remain unpaid as well for the most part. There had been one payment made on one of those.
Yeah, they
So-
received a judgment, but there's
there's been a
no
judgment,
money,
but
there's
they
no
haven't been
payment,
paid
yeah.
yet. So so that's kind of what's going on. We'll stay on top of it. If they continue to file a lot of this under seal, I think it could get a lot quieter because we're really not going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So the other alternative is the judge could say, hey, you don't need to be sealing all this. He could lean towards the direction of public good and just release it all. So we'll know that in the next week or so. As far as local, even more local news, government related, Monday morning, the city had their pre-planning meeting. This is the meeting before the planning commission meeting where they go over the projects coming up in the next month. The big one, which we kind of hinted at last month, is that the Remington Farms PUD, which is the neighborhood behind Jostens on Union Street, is back on the agenda. It had been on deferral for 26 months, I believe. And they're coming back to the Planning Commission asking for an approval on that. It has been reconfigured slightly. It currently, as they're presenting it, would be 400 single-family homes, 135 townhomes that would sit on 128 acres of the property. There would be 20 acres set aside for a future school, and then there would be 9.8 acres set aside for future commercial.
Okay, question for you, Josh, to clarify this. Does the 20 acres and the 9.83 acres, are they included in the 128.6?
No,
is the
those
one
are in
that
addition.
just for the residential part?
The residential is the
Okay, so you're
128.6.
getting 535 family dwellings on 128.6 acres.
You are.
How are we
That's a lot
doing
of
that?
people. Very carefully. So
Go stack them.
yeah, do it.
Okay.
I mean, you do the math.
Yeah.
That's 1,500 to 1,800 people, depending on how many people live in each
So-
household. So that's
So you get right back.
a lot of people.
You get right back to the same questions that we've always had. How does the traffic flow look? That was the biggest concern when it was
That
kind
was the
of,
initial concern
right.
when it was brought in.
and also you had some fire concerns because of so much in there packed in.
Yeah.
You have police concerns because you're building a small home. You're building a small city right here.
Oh yeah, you're building. I mean, for Bedford County, you can look at Bell Buckle, War Trace, Normandy combined. They don't have this many people. in it.
Exactly.
So,
And you're going
yeah,
to cram it in 128 acres. So
correct.
how does, now this is a question for planning commission, and this is not news. I'm just asking for personal information.
Yeah.
How does the planning commission go through the process of deciding this? If it's okay or not? I mean, how does it fit into our plans?
Right. They got to look at the infrastructure. Does the infrastructure support it? They got to look
Okay.
at the surrounding neighborhood and area and say, does this fit in? We have a comprehensive plan. We got to look at it in conjunction with a comprehensive plan. Does it fit in with what our goals are for Shelbyville going forward for the next 20 years? Does it make a big shift in the dynamic of that neighborhood? You know, is this neighborhood look one particular way and this is going to totally change it to a different way? And you know, put out the neighbors that have been there their whole lives. So there's a lot of different factors that'll go into this decision. I would expect it will be when it does come. And now this was pre-planning. It will appear at the Planning Commission, not this month, but in February if it stays on track. So this one's one that's been delayed a lot of times. So
Sure.
it could possibly move. But right now, as it sits, it will appear at the February Planning Commission. I think there'll be a fairly robust discussion. You know, there
Has
at that.
anything changed
So
traffic wise that would indicate that this is improved any?
they are proposing to add a third lane to Union Street from the entrance of this project, which is up there by Jostens, down as far as Mack Street. So from Mack Street to the entrance of this project, you would have a center turning lane, which currently doesn't exist there. That is the solution that they're offering to try to mitigate the traffic problem that this is going to cause on
Right.
Union Street.
Okay. So let's back and review. All this
Yeah.
is in the city limits of Shelbyville.
This is all in the city.
Yeah. So it's not annexed. Jason Sanders comes in. He said no PUDs. I get what he's saying,
Yeah.
but this is not a county issue. This is a city issue 100%.
This is a city. Yeah,
So
this is
this is
all.
not-
This
not
is
gonna
already
do
in
with
the
the
city.
county.
Yeah, this is
So
in the city.
this
Yeah.
would be a massive development, a small city being built
within the city.
Will they elect a mayor out there, Josh?
No, they will not have their own mayor.
No mayors.
They will
Okay.
not have their own
I
mayor.
see that they're offering up 9.83 acres for future commercial, 20 acres for a school. Now, has the school board said that that's a good idea for Bedford County schools at this point?
The school board has signed an agreement with the developer. There is a timeline connected to it. I've seen that contract. I don't want to give a number off the top of my head because I'm not holding it, but there is a time frame given to the school system to progress and build a school there. If it doesn't get built in the allotted time, the land would revert back to the developer at that point. So that's the agreement that they've
Okay.
signed.
I
So-
ask questions as they come to me, thinking
Yeah.
there might be somebody sitting out here thinking that question. Now, and here comes the step systems. Stephen, this would be
Yeah,
on.
this will all be
This
on
is sewer.
Yeah,
this is
would-
on sewer. This has got nothing to do with step systems or county.
right. And
other
this is a
than-
major sewer project. Actually, part of the what would happen with this, they would pay a large, like $1 million development charge right on the front end.
Right.
The developer would, and then Shelbyville Power, Water, and Sewer has to come in and actually redo the sewer on that side of town to make this work. So yeah, it's a major project all the way around. So a couple other projects that I thought were interesting that were on pre-planning that'll be at the February agenda. The corner of Depot Street used to be, I believe it was a Habitat store of
Yes,
some kind.
Habitat for Humanity.
Yep, it is about to be theoretically, if it all gets approved, redeveloped, and it will continue to be commercial space on the ground floor, and then there will be residential dwellings up on the second floor up above that. So they're hoping to rebuild that. I saw a rendering that looked really nice. So nice brick and
So
stuff.
these will these be like permanent residence or bed and breakfast type of
They
stuff?
didn't say at the meeting. I don't know if I would imagine rental units, but they didn't, and that's not part of the discussion as far as codes and stuff. They just people could live in them, so
Right.
likely rental. So 734 Main Street, which is currently one large commercial lot, they're asking to split that into three. I believe it's empty right now. It would still have one access point, but it would allow three different businesses to go
What's
in
there now?
I don't know.
I'll have
I
to
think-
look.
yeah,
I'll have to look at
it
that
up.
on the map.
Yeah, it's either empty or it just has one business. But either way, they've come up with a plan where they could have a single access down the middle, then put a business at the back, and then two up at the front on Main Street without adding any driveways. And then Cedar Glade, which is over close to Victory Baptist. They presented phase 3 of a PUD that's already been approved, and that's just going to be 48 more townhomes there. So that will be at planning next month. And that was it at pre-planning. Monday evening, went to the Bedford County Republican Party meeting and had the first round of discussions on the upcoming May primary. So
Okay, I want to do something real quick. We
Yeah.
got some personal things coming up on chat, and we need to stop it. So I'm gonna stop that right now. Okay. We just stopped it.
oh, okay.
All right.
All right. Problem solved.
Back it's
back
stopped.
to the show. Monday evening, Bedford County Republican Party meeting. This was the first meeting of the party going into the upcoming primary season. They had a list for us at that meeting, which we posted at the time, of the current candidates that were thinking about running in the primary. Since then, we've got an updated
Yes.
list, which I'm holding right here in my hands, and we posted that as well last night. These lists will be changing. They change daily, actually. People go in and pull new paperwork and whatnot.
yep.
So we'll stay on top of that. We'll probably update once a week, maybe every other week.
Now, what
until
is
we
the
get
final
to
date? Is that
February.
like February 16th?
February 19th,
19th.
at noon? By
You
February
have to have
19th at
everything
noon,
turned in.
You have to have all your signatures turned back in, and then they will approve you or not approve you if you
So
have the
theoretically,
appropriate number of signatures.
that morning. What time does it have to be in at noon? You said?
noon. It's gonna be
So
at
I
noon.
could go pull my papers at 8 o'clock that morning and then have a sign-in party, fill out my paperwork, and have it all back in.
You
So
have to have a
theoretically that
quick
could
party,
happen.
but you could do it.
So
theoretically
we
on the
still got a
19th.
good ways to go then.
Yeah, we
almost
still
a
got-
full month.
Yeah, right.
Right
yeah,
at a
over
full
month.
month, yeah.
So we've got plenty of time. So there will be a lot well, I hesitate to say a lot more names. There will definitely be more names, I think, added. I've heard from people that are still have not pulled their papers.
Yeah.
So it's going to keep being a moving target. There was some discussion there too about, we've talked about this in the past, bona fide or not bona fide.
Right. And that's confusing to a lot of people why you have the R and the I on the same candidate.
Right, because not to run it. I don't know how it is on the Democrat side. I don't go to Democrat meetings, but on the Republican side, they have a system in place. This comes down from the state GOP that you have to have voted in 3 of the last 4 statewide primaries. Statewide's an important thing there because we're about to have a county primary that
Right.
wouldn't count, but statewide primaries, 3 of the last 4, you have to have voted in the Republican primary. And then in none of those 4 can you have voted in the Democratic primary. Either of those is a disqualifying factor. What a lot of people run into is you have some of these primaries. I believe it was August of last year, maybe, or it was a couple years ago. We had an August primary where there was basically nothing happening at the state. I mean, there was nobody running against anybody.
Yeah.
So we had like a 7% turnout. So if you miss that one, and then you miss one other one somewhere else, you're suddenly disqualified from running as a Republican. So
Yeah.
that has disqualified a lot of people that thought
Yeah,
would
they
like
didn't
to
even
run
know.
as a Republican. They didn't know the
Yeah.
rules or didn't understand the rules. They missed 2 of the last 4. It wasn't that they voted for somebody else or a different primary. They just didn't vote at all in
Right,
2 of 4.
right.
And if you didn't vote at all in 2 of the last 4, you're disqualified. And then you have to run as an independent. So that's what's going on there. And then also the other question I asked when I picked up the list yesterday, you've got several people that have pulled in multiple races, like they pulled for mayor in this or commissioner in this. They cannot be on the ballot on 2 different races. When we get to February 19th, we'll know if they're in the primary or if they're running independent, and we'll know what race they're in. Nobody's going to be on there for
Right.
mayor and also for county commissioner.
Right.
So all that will be decided. We're just getting preliminary
That,
information.
if I'm not mistaken, that has happened in 2 cases or 1 case where
What's
you've
that?
got somebody that has pulled for both a commissioner
both.
and a mayor.
Last I looked, I think we have
Maybe
at least
1,
two
2. Okay.
people maybe that have done that. So
Because that means they might be undecided at this point which way they're going.
which way they're going.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But they will have to make that decision.
Right.
Once February 19th
It's
happens,
over. It's
they
time.
they can't change their
Everybody's
minds.
locked in at that
You're
point.
locked and loaded. So yeah. Tuesday, county commission meeting. I was at that one. It thought it was going to be a short meeting.
Man, I
There was
know.
nothing on the agenda. Said
That
this would be a
kinda just-
15 or 20-minute meeting. It snuck up on us. Went
And
over an
it's
hour,
kind of
so-
lingered a little bit, didn't it?
It did. The item that drew the most discussion, which I didn't think would be much of a discussion at all, was do we live stream the planning and BZA meeting or not?
Simple little motion.
Seemed fairly straightforward, and I didn't time it, but that was by far the most discussion. What the ask was, again, live stream 2 meetings. In the planning meeting, they had already announced a couple months ago at one of the committee meetings that they were going to start live streaming the planning meeting. So really
Right.
the discussion was, do we live stream BZA meetings? BZA is a committee that meets every other month on a good cycle. It's just an as needed committee that looks at zoning,
Right.
zoning appeals. It's Board of Zoning
Right.
Appeals. So they actually had one on the schedule this week, and they didn't even hold the meeting because some people got
And
sick.
that's
So-
not necessarily every month. That could happen
is
just
not every
whenever
month.
an
Yeah.
occurrence
Yeah,
happens.
last
Yeah.
year, I think I looked last year in the first 6 months of last year, I think they met 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
So it's every other month.
maybe,
and
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But what it got turned into and why the discussion went so long is there was an attempt by some on the floor to use what we studied this logic class at
Did you?
MTSU,
Okay.
where we learned fallacies and stuff. It was
Yeah.
actually an interesting class. I've never studied it for and had to write papers on it. But there's what's called a straw man argument. This is a logical fallacy. They teach you this at college. And what you do is you're arguing. I'm arguing with you, and
Right.
you're trying to make a point, and I take your point and I turn it into something way bigger than what you're
That's right.
saying.
Exactly.
So in this case, the discussion and the only motion that ever got on the floor, other than there was an amendment, which we can talk about in a minute, but the motion that came on the floor was to stream 2 meetings. They turned that into an argument over how expensive it's going to be to stream all the county meetings. Streaming all the
Yeah.
county meetings
Yeah.
never was a motion that even made
Nobody
it to the floor.
suggested that except for the people that are
Well,
they're
it was
trying to-
yeah, they were talking about it, and that's I'm not saying that streaming all the meetings is a bad idea, and eventually
Oh,
that's
yeah,
something
maybe
they
so,
probably need
maybe.
to review. But at this point in the discussion, they weren't there, and that's something that will need to be looked at budget time. That is a big deal. But they dragged this small request into being that bigger request. And then the straw man argument theory is you beat up the big request and say,
Yeah.
hey, look what a
We
bad
can't do
request
it.
that is.
Exactly.
we
Yeah,
can't do it.
it's kind of
So
a smoke and mirrors move.
yeah, so an amendment was made to try to just push this thing off, delay it. I believe the amendment got 5 votes. So you
Yeah.
had 5 people that didn't like the direction this was going. And so that failed. You have to get 10. And then they split back around, voted on the initial, and then it was unanimous.
But the
So-
richest thing out of this whole thing, the statement was made, there was a concern for taxpayer dollars. At what point have we been concerned about taxpayer dollars in that district? That's what I want to know. When have we been concerned about it? All of a sudden it's a concern.
Yeah, that
So
was
I assume then going forward, Josh, that they're going to, this gentleman and the people that are in this mindset at the moment, maybe we can get this tax freeze done real quick with they're in that notion right now of trying to save taxpayers money.
maybe we'll
You
get,
know,
we'll get to the
okay.
freeze.
But anyway, that's just one
yeah.
thing that jumped out at me. Like, oh wow,
Right.
there's a change of heart here.
Yeah, so I think that was all part of the straw man deal.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
let's make
dadgummit.
this something
I
big.
thought there
and
was
then
really
beat
a
it up,
concern.
so.
I was getting excited, Josh.
Yeah. So either way, they did approve the motion, which was to live stream the planning and the BZA meetings. Then they canceled the BZA meeting anyways. There is a planning meeting currently on the agenda. I'm going to assume it is going to be live streamed since that got passed. And actually, I should be at that meeting, and we'll report on it either way. Quarterly reports. We missed our gamble we made last Saturday. I think we guessed that 4 people would give their quarterly reports. We had 5 people show up. 5
Yeah,
out of 9.
I think the over and under was 4.5.
Oh, okay.
So, and I took the under on that.
You took the.
I
yeah,
lost.
Yeah. See, if
There
you were
was
taking
5.
over, it was 5. So
Yep.
there was 5.
Yep.
5 people showed up, gave their reports in person. Number of good reports. A lot of discussion though. It kind of ran across between 3 of them, I would say, on the fact that the county feels like there's going to be some kind of big shortfall in property tax revenue, and it all got tied back into this discussion that has been happening a lot over the last year or two. They like to talk about the ratio. The ratio is killing us. We're getting
My
killed by the
ratio's
ratio.
killing me too.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll try to give a quickish explanation of the ratio. We reappraise real property, which is, houses, land, businesses, buildings, every 5 years, I believe, currently. So that's part of your property tax.
Right.
The other part of your property tax, which I don't think either you or I are a fan of, and I think is, not the best idea in the world, the personal property tax. This is the taxes they
they're
charge you as a
paying-
business owner
Hey,
for your table, for your chair,
this
for your
microphone, we're
desk.
paying property tax on this every year.
You pay property
People
tax.
do not realize that. This
I think a
table,
lot of people that aren't in
the
business
computer
don't. Yeah.
right here, this chair I'm sitting in, Elvis, we're having to pay property tax on Elvis every year.
Your inventory, you pay property tax
Yes.
on the value of your inventory.
Yes.
You pay anything that a business has used in the course of that business inside their building, could even be outside their building, I guess, but anything that's not the physical property,
Right.
there's an additional tax, personal property tax.
What
We're
about air?
I've not gotten a bill yet for the air.
I
get
think
one
we
for my
do. I
desk,
think
though,
we
over
do
here.
get one for
Yeah.
the air.
Yeah, well, they
It's
probably,
just not. It's miscellaneous.
yeah, maybe. But so
All right.
back to the ratio. So your building only gets reappraised every 5 years. So
Right.
that rate, that dollar amount is locked in. Unless you do work on the building, you're going to pay
Right.
that much unless they raise your taxes. So on the personal property, you send in a form to them every single year.
Yep.
So there's a new value on that.
Right.
So even though they haven't changed the taxes on your building, the value theoretically on your building keeps going up.
Yeah.
So there's a mathematical formula they take of whatever that difference is between what your building's really worth and what you're paying. And they use that number to reduce what you pay on the personal property tax. So you're not paying more on the personal property tax than on the physical property. The complaint that comes in from government is, oh, we're losing tax revenue.
You're not losing.
We're
anything.
losing that ratio. It's
Losing-
our money. We want
Losing
it.
is going to
We
be.
want it.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
something. Losing is going to be when all these businesses go out of business. That's when you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
While we're still in business, you ain't losing nothing. I
Right.
just tell you, I'm
Yeah.
gonna argue hard about this, Josh,
Yeah.
because we've been doing it here for 30 years. Okay. And it's ludicrous, some of the stuff that we have to pay tax on.
Yeah.
This wire running. I mean, it's insanity.
Yep.
These chairs
It's
sitting in
all
here.
taxed.
So we won't pay taxes on it where we could buy those chairs 20 times over. It's insane.
Yeah. So,
Sorry to go off on the tangent, but
Yeah.
I don't hear anything about losing anything. When you lose, you're going to lose when these businesses like
Right.
the big plant out here in the industrial park is shutting down. That's losing.
Yeah, that's losing because you're losing jobs there. So that is kind of, in a nutshell, my best attempt at explaining what that ratio is. But there was a lot of talk about it at the meeting. There's a lot of talk of all the property tax revenue we're losing, and then the talk seemed to be leaning in the direction of, we may end up with a shortfall this year, which that's generally an early talk for. Can we raise the tax?
Yeah,
can we raise property taxes?
I'm
We'll
telling you something,
So-
Josh. I'm gonna be kicking and screaming about this
Yeah.
for a long time, probably.
Yeah,
Sorry.
probably. Quarterly reports going on with those. My favorite one we get every quarter is the trustees report because it shows actual real dollars, so we can see what's actually going on.
Yep.
Versus projections in the budget. Bedford County, sitting at the end of the year, had $137.5 million in their bank accounts. A lot of that
Now,
obviously
understand-
spoken for. That's
It's 58.6 in debt services.
so $58.6 million of that is sitting in debt services, generating interest. They have started a new banking relationship with the fine folks at Pinnacle Bank. They're using what is called an insured cash sweep accounts for most of their money now, a lot of their money.
It's sitting earning interest when it's not being paid out.
It literally gets swept out, used and invested
Into that other
swept
account.
back, swept
Yeah.
out, swept constantly all day long.
And that's unlimited as to how many times you can do that in most cases. You can move
Right.
it back and forth.
Yeah, and their contract with Pinnacle pays them the Fed funds rate on their money in those accounts with no discounts. So the current Fed funds rate, I believe, is 3.75.
Oh, is it 3?
Oh yeah, rates have come down a lot. So yeah,
Okay.
3.75 is where the Fed funds rate, I believe, currently sits. But either way, with the amount of money they have in the bank, they are generating a little over $400,000 a month as of the month of December.
Yeah, I
in
understand
interest.
how this works, and I understand what the debt services account is for. It's servicing our debts. Okay, it's
Right.
self-explanatory, and it's earning interest.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got a cushion, a great big old cushion right here.
Right.
Now, I believe in having a cushion, but what is the appropriate cushion for a budget our size? In this case, Josh, do you have any idea what the average is?
I do not know what the average is. I know we are running the probably the biggest cushion we have in county history for sure.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we pat ourselves on the back because we're hoarding money there? I think it's something to be said. That's a good thing. But at the same time, if you're going to continually raise property taxes, you're continually going to get a bigger cushion.
The cushion, yeah. I think we've talked about this. This is way back in the past. 3 years ago, we looked at this account and there was a motion that made it to the floor at budget time to cut the property tax that's going into
Right.
this account just because of the discussion of this is taxpayer money.
Right.
So how much do you need to take out of taxpayers to build your cushion? Is there, I mean, is 100 million a big enough cushion? When do you say enough is enough on the cushion? Realizing that we do have, and we're going to get to this in just a second, we've got a lot of school needs coming down the road. There's going to be a lot of buildings that need to be built. And that's the argument for continuing to build up this account is think of all the buildings we're going to have to build.
Well,
So,
we might not have to.
may or may not. Likely at some point growth will get us there.
But that
we'll talk
growth,
about
the
those.
growth pays for itself, doesn't it?
The growth does not.
The
pay for itself.
excuse me, not the growth, but the population increase.
The population increase
the taxpayer
definitely
base is a
does
theory but it doesn't work. That
It does
way,
not pay for itself.
Right.
Definitely not in the world of schools. So, so that was it at the county commission meeting. That was it for the quarterly reports at that. Thursday, we actually had a city meeting. I believe might have been my only. No, pre-playing with city. So it was another city meeting.
Right.
This was employee benefits committee. We had a discussion of city employees, why we've got a guy cutting the grass out at the park and he gets paid more money an hour than the guy cutting the grass in the medium for public works. And the discussion got around to the fact that the city paid back in 2019 and 2020 for a salary study to try to get everything into alignment, look at all the surrounding, all this, what you do in a salary study, and implemented half of the first step of the salary study, and then threw it out the window and said it was too expensive, and then made no more progress. So they're now back. We're probably worse off than they were before the study. And you got a guy over here making 16, you got a guy making
Okay,
1750.
all right, so here we go, Josh.
And then you've
Here's
got
again.
you got department heads sniping. Well, the
Right.
heads are not, but you've got two different departments trying to recruit people, and you may have this
A bidding
department-
war.
Yeah, basically a bidding war.
All right, let me ask you this. So you
So,
hire and pay for a study.
Yeah.
And then you ignore the study.
they didn't ignore it. They just felt like it was too expensive, which I will see what the numbers. So part of what actually got approved was to do a new one of these studies. Recommend to the city council to do another one of these studies. What's going to happen, which I'll pre-warn you what happens with these studies. It's going to end up costing
Yeah,
money.
of course it
for
is.
not so much for the study, but to implement. it.
Right.
And then the discussion is going to be,
Tax increase.
can we afford it?
Of course, tax increase.
And
Everything's
that's-
about tax increase.
That's about property taxes.
It's
So-
always going to be about more money.
Yeah. And that's what happened back in 2020. They got the study, they went to implement it, and the only way to implement it would have been a bigger tax increase, and they didn't want to do it. So they ignored the study, and now they've ended up back in the same mess they were in before the study.
Yeah.
So that's
Here we go.
that's where we're at. Thursday evening, school board. Missed last month's, went this month. They approved vestibules. These are the double door entrances to most that they're going to add to most of the schools, where you get buzzed into a first door, and then you're
Right.
kind of in between two sets of doors. Then they can like check your ID
Hey.
and stuff, and then buzz you into the second.
I'm
door.
having deja vu.
Yeah.
I thought this was already approved
It was approved.
for some schools and not others.
Well, no, it was approved for all schools, but then they went out to bid and the price was too much. They didn't have the money. So now they've come back, and what's ended up happening is they've taken the vestibules. They're not going to do vestibules at Central, Chevrolet Central. They found a different way to do the security at Central. The little bit of discussion that happened during the meeting was they didn't have a dollar figure yet for what they're going to do at Central is going to cost, but they went ahead and approved it anyways. And that was a little concerning that they would do that. But they did say that they felt like they had money in the budget to cover whatever it cost. So
Was there a range given on what it might cost, or
no, nobody would really give a dollar for it. They did say they're adding some double door security doors. I think they were $14,000 a pair, $22,000 a pair, something like that. They had a dollar figure for each set of doors, but there was some camera work they need to get done. They didn't have pricing on yet. So either way, they approved the whole package, so they can go ahead and hopefully start on the ones. The other discussion I found interesting, I would have not known a whole lot about this. I would have guessed you'd be more concerned about security at the city schools and would start at the city. They're actually starting in the county schools implementing this, and they have
that's
a good
priority
reason.
there?
Well, no, in the city schools, you've got a very quick police response
Response,
time.
I'm
So if
sure.
you have an issue at a city school, you're going to get an officer there. I mean, our average is 4 minutes and something. You're probably
Yeah.
going to get an officer there in about 90 seconds in the city.
Right.
You're way out at a county school, you call for help. It's going to take longer
Oh,
to get an
heaven
officer
forbid
there.
if
So
we've got a wreck or something on the other side of the county, it could take 30 minutes to get
it could
to
take a minute. So
Yeah.
they're going to start with the security upgrades at the county schools first, then work their way into the city. So, and I
Yeah.
thought that was good reasoning. They continue to speak about attendance numbers are down at our schools, over 200 from last year. This is a combination of the new state voucher program. This is also, as they've told us several times this year, this is homeschool. There's a lot more people homeschooling
Well,
than have in the past.
It's
So,
and I wasn't going to bring this up, but the report that we had
yeah,
this past week of the individual, the teacher that was arrested for those charges, it scares a lot of people. Even though this didn't take place, some people, based on what I saw on Facebook response and social media and the conversations going around, there's a fear.
right.
And people, if they're able to and can make it work, they're either going to do virtual or they're going to choose to do homeschooling. You see more this growing, and it's not just here; it's everywhere.
Right. It's all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not the only school system facing this. So, and which gets us to the last item. This was actually approved last month at the school board. I was not there. I was able to go this month. And I got a hold of they approved last month the 5 and 10 year plan for Bedford County schools. So I have not seen this published anywhere. I asked if it was on the website, and they said, "Hey, we've got a copy here. We'll just hand it to you." So I'm going to just real quick go down for people that are just curious what the school board is looking at over the next 5 or 10 years in Bedford County schools. These are their priority list. It's not that long, so it'll be easy to cover. In the next 5 years, their first priority is they hope to renovate the TCAT building. That is the old TCAT on Madison Street.
Right.
TCAT's moved up to 231. So the school system has taken over that building. It will become the central office and headquarters for the school.
So basically your administration.
That's your administrative buildings. So yes, they're looking to renovate TCAT in the next 5 years. Liberty High School. This one surprised me. There'd been some debate because of the reduction in numbers if this would come up next, but currently they're leaving Liberty High School on the 5-year plan. A new elementary school. No further information than that. They're just saying they want one more new elementary school. And then they want to purchase land for a new middle school. Now, there's something in parentheses, the next one, that makes it clear that the new middle school they want to purchase land for would be in the city. So in the city of Shelbyville. So that's their 5-year plan. In the next 10 years, they hope to build a new middle school in the city. They hope to renovate East Side and Aiken. They want to get a new bus garage, and then they want to pay for athletic facilities upgrades. And I believe that would be the fact that at Cascade and Community, you don't have real high school athletic facilities at those. I believe they're using the middle school facilities at both of those. So that is the current 5-year and 10-year plan of the school board. So
okay, I think there's going to be a lot of things happen over the next 5 to 10 years that could alter that. I think that that trend of the decrease in students enrolling it's going to continue. I think you're going to continue to see that. Now, how much population increase we have that could offset that, that might be the factor we need to look at.
Right. Yeah, it's going to depend. Yeah, you'll have, as a percentage, I think you're right, more people going into homeschool, but we're continuing to have the population growth. Does that eventually catch up when we start growing?
Does it equal it out? Does it show a need? And that goes back to the first one of the first things that we looked at up here on the Remington Farms, where they have allocated 20 acres for a future school. I'm thinking that maybe the board is thinking that might come into fruition there. Now, strategically, it's probably a good spot out that way, but then you still have this traffic issue. And this all fits into the school issue. Right. You got school traffic on top of what's out there.
You got school traffic on top of residential traffic.
And this all culminates, Josh, to me, in the cities and that side of the county's biggest issue to deal with is that traffic flow out there.
Right.
If all this comes together.
And no bypass on the horizon coming from TDOT to save us either.
Yeah.
So far, nobody.
You're looking down the road. Now, if I'm looking down the road as a person that would have to make decisions and represent the public on that, I'm looking at that and say that's going to be our biggest mess in the next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
That right there, that one thing.
Yeah. So very, very important elections coming up. I know we've talked about those a lot. We've got going to have a new county mayor. We're going to have a new property assessor. We're going to have a new sheriff. We're going to have a big shakeup in the county commission. All that's going to happen at the election in August. So keep informed, keep watching the news, keep paying attention. Hopefully people make wise decisions when it comes
I think
time to vote.
I think we could have a net gain if the constituents of our county and our city will get more representation. If we can head that direction, it would be a great gain for us.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will come. Let's take a break.
Yeah. And then we'll come back and talk about what's happening next week.
We'll be right back.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
Ready to upgrade your space? And Extreme Flooring in Shelbyville, we've got you covered. From carpet and hardwood to luxury vinyl, tile, and waterproof flooring. We also handle kitchen backsplash and bath remodels. Our design and sales team will help you find the perfect fit with trusted brands like Dreamweaver, Shaw, Mohawk, Doll Tile, and Tile Bar. And their certified installers make sure everything looks just right. Stop by and see us at 225 Colorado Boulevard in Shelbyville or give us a call at 931-735-6700. Financing is available. Schedule your consultation today at extreme-flooring.com. Let's make your home amazing.
All righty. Welcome back in here to the News That Matters, the weekend wrap up. Josh, upcoming week.
Upcoming week, I have got on my meeting agenda, I've got only 2 big meetings that we're going to talk about. But both of these, at least to me personally, I think are going to have a big impact going forward on both City of Shelbyville and Bedford County. Tuesday evening, we have just what would normally just be county committee meetings, which is generally just a lot of reports
Right.
and, talking about what happened the past month. We will be, myself and Commissioner Eric Maddox will be for the 2nd month in a row, hopefully, assuming they allow us, which I think they will. Biff is always very gracious as the chairman of that board, to present the opportunity for a senior property tax
Right.
freeze for Bedford County and the city of Shelbyville. We are going to ask at that meeting to form a joint committee between the city and the county and study this for 90 days. This committee would include both county commissioners, city council members. It would include our county trustee, our county property assessor. Those are the 2 offices that work on this. Anyone else that rules and legislative feels like would be appropriate for that committee. And I just feel like this is something important that we should. I've spent a lot of time on this in the past, I don't know, month, 2 months now. I've met with a lot of people, spent a lot of hours on it, and hoping we get this committee together and at least give this a serious look for the seniors of Bedford County and Shelbyville. That is that meeting. There will be other things at that meeting. It's, normal reports and stuff. But to me personally, that's the big thing coming up Tuesday. Thursday, this is another one that I think is going to be important. I don't know what direction it's going to head yet, but at the Thursday Planning Commission meeting, this currently on the agenda as it sits, and this is public on the city website, unless there's still some up in the air on it, but there will be a discussion and a possible vote on the expansion of Duxon Electerra in the industrial park. Specifically, their request to add approximately 8 acres of concrete behind their facility and store up to 220 tanks of finished EV electrolyte chemicals back there.
Okay. So 8 acres, that's a massive amount of concrete.
That's a big old parking lot is what it is.
Sure
It's a
is.
big parking lot. It's
So
got 220 parking spaces, and each parking space would hold one, I don't know if it's said ISO or ISO, but 1 tank of,
Yeah, we're not going to have
electrolytes.
vehicles.
So-
We're going to have tanks.
yeah, this will be it's a chemical containment tank with a frame around it and on wheels that can be hooked up to a truck and pulled in and out. And that is the request that they will have there. In addition to that, and to me, that's a big one, but there's another 150 unit townhome development on that agenda. There's several other neighborhoods we're looking at. So a lot of moving parts in the world of planning. So yeah. So those to me are the 2 big meetings this week that I will be at. There'll probably be some smaller ones, but
And you never know what's going to come out of left field, Josh. It's
every
always.
week something comes out of left field.
I
so-
suspect we'll hear something else out of Uncle Nearest in our
yeah,
weekly
probably.
updates.
Yeah, there'll probably be something there in the case.
And we're
Yeah.
going to probably have some more people pull their papers for elected office.
There'll be more news in the world of the election
Um,
as well.
And hopefully we don't have any reports like we had this week coming up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about on here
Yeah.
that is sensitive in nature,
Right.
and we're going to try to stay that way.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So yeah, a lot going on in the city, but yeah, we will. We'll keep coming back week after week and reporting on it. So
And we want to thank our sponsors, Dennis Young Insurance and Extreme Flooring. We appreciate those guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in today and checking up and getting caught up on the news that matters. I always enjoy this because I learn a lot from Josh.
well, thanks.
Learn about what's going on and what's important to us.
Yeah.
All these votes that take place on our behalf, we need to stay in touch with what's going on and give our input to our representatives. I'll just encourage that.
Absolutely.
And some of this stuff could possibly change that we're talking about if we would just give some input to our reps.
Yeah, reach
That's-
out to them.
Reach out.
Yeah, quick shout out. I see in the comments. Let me just say hello to my buddy Bobby Turnbow is in there, and I appreciate the compliment on the haircut. So
I wasn't going to mention it, but somebody noticed, Josh.
I went to the barber. It was time. I was getting shaggy. So
Okay.
thanks, Bobby.
You're looking good on screen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you again next